Hi, I'm Feroz Khan, and welcome to Drag and Drop Low Code Unplugged, the podcast where we explore the game-changing impact of low code in software development. Join me in insightful conversations with IT leaders and passionate low code enthusiasts who are at the forefront of this digital evolution. Together, we'll explore how early adoption of low code is giving businesses a competitive edge on a global scale. We'll discuss its impact on software development, dissect its role in transforming businesses, and uncover the ways in which it's reshaping career trajectories. So whether you're a seasoned IT professional or a curious enthusiast, be sure to tune in as we share success stories and unravel the mysteries of low code. Subscribe now and stay tuned for a front row seat to the revolution that's shaping the future of technology. So let's go. Hi Richard, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Feroz?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to be a guest on the podcast.
No worries.
We've known each other for a while, so it's nice to get you on. On a kind of we've met each other, we've worked together, so it's nice to now get you on as a guest finally.
It's a pleasure.
Obviously, like most people I speak to have, we have to talk about it, have virtual backgrounds. You've obviously got a very nice background. Is that something you've been working on for a while, or is it something new?
Yeah, it's 20 years in the making.
Wow.
But this is my second aquarium.
Nice.
So the first one developed a leak and I lost everything.
Oh wow.
So it's it's a scary end of keeping fish. Because when something goes wrong, it's a disaster.
I think a few people I've spoken to in the past who worked with you, they would ask, "Oh, Richard, yeah, he's got the really nice fish tank." So they refer to you with the fish tank.
Yeah, I've had to move office away from the fish tank because people would call me and just to look at the fish.
So you had to just move out of the frame.
It'd be this like really weird. You're like what's this call about? I just wanted to ask you about, and then drift off looking at the fish.
That's amazing. So yeah, it'd be good to start with you giving a bit of introduction to yourself, who you are, where you're from.
Okay. Well, I'm Richard Tilbury. I work for Personal Group, and we are a provider of employee benefits and a hospital plan. So we do a bit of insurance, but we're most in contact with people around the employee benefits, the platform that we provide. The platform's called Hapi. It's been going for 6-7 years. We deal with like quite large clients, mainly in the sort of logistics, care homes, hotels, sort of like sort of big organisations where they've got a lot of employees that I think the term is they don't fly a desk.
Yeah.
So they're hard to get in touch with. Hard to communicate to. What the application would provide Hapi. It's mobile. It allows the employer to contact staff. Just give them sort of heads up things. We've got reward and recognition, so there's a community thing going on in it, so that you can, if you've got someone does something nice for you, you can send them a voucher or do things. Sort of like it's sort of like a reward, peer rewards. And there's also discounts on it. So we look to enhance people's salary by saving them money. So 5% here, 10% there.
Yeah.
Given the way the economy is going, it's
everything helps. Yeah,
So
definitely.
we started our journey on this about 7 years ago. I think it is, we landed on the OutSystems platform. So it's all low code, everything plugs in, and it developed. We could deliver to both mobile app and desktop with the same staff, same developers, and So that's what attracted us, and that's what sort of set us off on this path. I've been with the organisation for over 20 years.
I think
Various
you're my
guys.
first guest. You're my first guest who's worked for a company for that long. So that was going to be one of my questions.
Yeah, I think it's 22 years now.
Wow.
But I'm one of the newbies, because in my team, sort of the IT team, one of the guys has been there 25 years. Another one, I think
Wow.
30 something.
Wow. Wow.
So there's as a company, we have got some old timers.
Yeah, yeah. That's crazy. And just kind of obviously rewinding back in your, you've given us a bit of a brief about personal group and the project there. Obviously you've been there 22 years. Kind of, when were you first exposed to low code? Or, obviously you had a career before personal group as well. Had you kind of heard of low code or come across any type of low code platform before?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, because there were a lot of fourth generation languages in the sort of 80s and early 90s that people were experimenting with. I saw something called Gupta SQL, I think it was.
Okay.
Really, I mean, nowadays it'd be probably laughable, but at the
Yeah.
time it was like it had a UI, and you could create SQLs,
Yeah.
queries that you could then just bolt into screens. It was like pre Microsoft Access.
Yeah.
So I think that's sort of like the stuff I was seeing in terms of low code quite early on. There was a French language that one of the places I worked at used, and I can't remember what that was called, but it was actually
Yeah.
written in French.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, but that was a 4GL. So there was
Yeah.
like the low code stuff has been bubbling around for me
Mm.
quite some time, but not something I've focused on.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until we started looking at developing Hapi
Mm.
that we looked at the potential of low code, and it was sort of like there were two players, Mendix and OutSystems, that we were looking at. And the reason we went for low code was because we had a department full of developers. All of them were siloed.
Yeah.
All of them had different, they do things in different things. No one would have the same tool.
Mm.
So one would be using Delphi, another one would be using .NET, and another one's C, another one's some crazy language that they found somewhere.
Sure.
The reason for that was because the company had accrued businesses and absorbed IT departments from different places, and they all standardized on different stuff. So
yeah.
when you 2P people in, they were keeping the tools.
Yeah.
And so we use low code as a way of homogenizing the development team. So we didn't have people complaining that they were disadvantaged.
Yeah.
We moved them all onto a new platform when we started a Hapi project.
Yeah.
And I think that worked really well, because some of the things, if you had a COBOL programmer and a Delphi programmer and a Fortran programmer, they were interested in migrating to something new. So
and when you mentioned, obviously it came down to kind of OutSystems and Mendix, what was it that kind of made you decide to go down the OutSystems path?
I think it was the fact that it was aimed at lazy people. And the thing that made me go wow was very stupid, but the fact that you could get spreadsheets into data tables and then wrap screens around them, and you could do that in like 10 minutes.
Wow.
And like at the time, we had everyone running things on spreadsheets, and it was just like a great way of hoovering up a whole load of problems, and we wouldn't have to take too much time to do it. And I think that was the thing that probably drew me over to OutSystems quite big time, because it was just such a useful concept. They thought about the types of journeys that developers have to do, and the repetitive, stupid stuff that we do. That you could have a generic framework to do it. That's that saves you so much time.
Yeah. And obviously you mentioned you had various skill sets of developers working for you. How was were they all kind of willing and happy to kind of leave what they've been working with and kind of move towards low code, or did you have some challenges there?
I think you know the answer.
I'm still gonna ask you.
Oh, we had real challenges.
Yeah.
This Mickey Mouse thing is beneath me to use. I interviewed someone who was polite in the interview, but afterwards wrote me this long email saying, and I wish I'd kept it, but saying that I was misguided and stupid for having adopted low code, and they wouldn't want to work for a company that was so stupid, and at the time, we had like hundreds of thousands of users using, external users using our product written in a low code. So I didn't take it too badly.
But if only you could find him now.
Let me show you. But we did have a lot of pushback. The general thing was that people were saying things like, I've got right. We had two camps. We had people that were working with legacy development tools. And so for them, it was great. They could escape that legacy. And they took to it quite quickly. But then there was another camp that were using tools more like C and C#. That were like, well, why should we do this? Because our careers, the career tool for us is C#. And there was quite a lot of resistance. And but it was interesting because there was a bit of a turnaround. There were people that refused to migrate. So they were excluded from the team because the whole team needed to be using the same development platform. And they eavesdropping on conversations and seeing what was happening and things. They started feeling left out and left behind. And I definitely did have one or two come to me and say, we want to.
Nice.
Course. I want to go on the OutSystems training course to see what it's about. And so they were converted. But I think you need a little bit of patience there because it is such a big change. But I think these days now, things like OutSystems and low code, they're on people's horizon a bit more. So I don't think that jump is going to be as drastic.
And I think like you mentioned, obviously, at the time when you were looking at the platforms, I think they weren't as big as what they are even today. Especially, we're both in the UK, and the UK market is still kind of smaller than other countries. So 6-7 years ago, it was like if you weren't flipping people, then it was probably a very small candidate market around.
I don't know what number we were on adoption in the UK, but I think we were in the first handful of people. And we were certainly the largest site for a long time.
Wow. And talking about obviously Hapi and the project, can you talk us through kind of the implementation, some kind of successes with it, any challenges you came across?
I think that the challenges I'd like to say the challenges have been few. In terms of technology. Can we do it? I don't think that anything stumped us in terms of having to do things differently. OutSystems is brilliant in that you've got you've got integrations that you can do. So if you've got a chunk of C# code
Mm.
that is legacy you don't want to touch, and it has inputs and outputs. You can wrap that up and it becomes an action, and so you can plug things in. So I mean that meant that some of the legacy stuff that we didn't want to redevelop, we could just wrap up and just call. So so that allowed us some successes. Big success for us. We had there was a cinema product that we used, and the company that provided it was seriously hacked.
Oh wow.
The product became toxic because it was so bad that people just didn't want to use it, and we needed a cinema product, and so we, from the spec, which was sort of like someone shouting, "We need cinema tickets to be provided on the platform. We're going to get you vouchers. This is the format of the vouchers. Can you go and write it?" From that moment, I think it was like 3 weeks, we had a product up and running and working.
Wow.
And that was complicated. I mean, it was complicated. It's like serving vouchers, lots of security because the vouchers are money.
Yes.
So we're importing vouchers and reconciling them and making sure that all the numbers are right and people got them and could spend them. So it saved us a couple of times, and there's sorts of random stuff like that. So technologically, I think it's good. Where we have problems is more around the governance.
Okay.
So there's a perennial argument about branching code and code toggles and things like that, and it's maintaining different streams of development has been a challenge. And it's the whole governance around like documenting code, knowing versions, being able to tie everything up to a release and things like that. So like there are things that you can do, but it's a bit clunky still. And I think as the products mature, we see changes, but I mean as the products mature, I think the governance side thing that has to be implemented better. Because tracking versions and knowing who did what and stuff like that, it's all part of keeping the code and doing the coding. And as you get bigger and bigger, we're up to almost 30 people in the team.
Wow.
There's a lot going on. So you need integrations for things like Jira. You need to know that this code was fixed in this version and stuff like that. So that's where my current challenges are pretty much 100% around governance.
And with while you kind of been working with OutSystems, obviously it's been a while now, and in that time there's been so many things they've released during the time you've been using it. What's kind of, because you obviously work in the middle of the project while these upgrades are going on, what are kind of a few examples of certain things that released and for you and your business was like, yes, this is going to really help us?
I think for us it's the mobile integration, so that you've got you're using the same platform to develop desktop web as well as mobile web and native apps. So that for us, that's been amazing because all of our devs can do anything. So we don't have like a bunch of good, sort of iOS developers. We don't have a bunch of Android developers. We've just got one set of developers, and they all flip between one project and another. They could be working on a back-end system one week, and they could be working on iOS front-end stuff. It just makes it so easy. Everyone has preferences. One of my interview questions is, your project ideal, we're giving you a job, whereabouts are you going to sit? Front end, back end, middleware. Because everyone does have that preference.
Sure.
We don't like to silo people. We move people
Mm,
around, but
mm.
everyone has to play to their strengths when we're
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. And do you kind of, now when you kind of adopted the platform, obviously there's all these things about obviously faster development compared to traditional, smaller teams compared to traditional. Do you now, for someone who's been in that process for quite a while, do you agree with that term?
uh, I think it's really hard to
Yeah.
say that development is faster.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I'm trying to think of an analogy. I mean, it's like, is writing a book or writing a graphic novel faster?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you still got to do all. You still got to have the plot. You still got to have the
Mm.
storyline. You still got to have a good ending,
Yeah, of course.
uh,
Yeah.
and the techniques work are different,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the output is similar.
Yeah.
But one might be slicker.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
I think I am 100% sure on this, where we do see a very, very uh, increase, a big increase in efficiency is with bug fixing,
Okay.
right? So because traditional uh, tools, you're wading through code and you're trying to spot what the hell could be happening.
Yeah, yeah,
Part of it's memory, you remember that something
yeah,
was in place and stuff.
yeah.
There's tracking down a bug is a different experience when you've got a flowchart on the screen.
Mm.
And I think that feels a lot faster. And people that are not, we have sort of people coming into the teams who are not used to low code, and their observations seem to be that like you guys are fixing bugs really quickly.
Yeah, yeah,
So like it's just that was an interesting thing. But I always felt that we were quicker.
yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, for me that's a big win.
Yeah, yeah.
What you're doing most of the time when you're in BAU is fixing
Mm.
bugs
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
sort of like sorting things out,
yeah,
troubleshooting.
yeah,
That's that. The turnaround's very quick.
yeah. Yeah, I had a few people, I guess, in the past who have said, obviously, if there's something that needs to be changed, when you're using low code, you can quite easily do that and deliver that. Where with
Yeah.
traditional, obviously, it's a bit more complicated with kind of all the work you've already done.
Yeah, but I'd also counter that it's quicker to screw things up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
like the ability to change something quickly doesn't mean that you're going to fix the problem
yeah,
quicker.
sure. Yeah,
Because sometimes it might work against you because you think I can just change this and release it,
yeah, yeah,
and 10 minutes later you discover that you actually screwed something up big time
yeah.
and you have to do another release. So we still have the governance around that.
Yeah,
That everything gets checked, code
mm,
reviewed, checked,
yeah,
and tested, and then it goes into a hotfix
yeah,
after regression. Because you can't upset 500,000 people.
yeah, of
Uh,
course.
you've got to take a little bit of care
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And obviously we were obviously both in Portugal last year for the conference, and obviously OutSystems, you know, spoke about plans for the future, things that are coming. Obviously AI is the big thing on everyone's kind of,
Yeah.
what's your kind of views on, what's coming, and what are you kind of looking forward to seeing?
Um, that's a good question because I feel like I don't have the time to look at what's coming because people give you so much to do in the here and now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
difficult to like make that leap. Um, I think that the AI side of things is really interesting, um, especially around the uh, things like AI mentor.
yeah,
That thing enforcing good practice
Mm.
You know, sitting there and checking your code and doing it in a very pragmatic way.
Mm.
It's not subjective; it's objective.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, that buys you, I think, a lot of time. You know,
Yeah.
because there's not much argument. I mean, they're like C. I remember C++. There was there was some statements that you could end up having a fight over what it was actually doing. You know, it's just one line
Yeah.
of code.
Yeah.
And with OutSystems, you don't have that much of that problem, but it is good to have something like the AI mentor checking stuff out. The ODC is not really hit us yet.
Yeah.
We've just moved to reactive web.
Okay.
And if I told anyone we wanted to migrate to ODC, I'd be killed.
Yeah.
I think
This would be your last appearance. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to wait about 4 or 5 years before
Yeah.
hey, we should be moving to this new platform. It's really stable now.
Yeah.
It was a tactical move to not move to it. But you know, I think ODC is interesting in that it gives us the platform, and it's more dynamic underneath the hood. You know, you sort of plug in other stuff, and it's I think that's going to be a really interesting future. You know, because it from what I understand, it doesn't seem to tie you to technologies under the hood. It merges everything. So you know, that gives OutSystems fluidity. You know,
Sure.
Move to what's needed. And it's certainly the AI helpers in the code, you know, coding. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
How useful that is, because I've got those horrible flashbacks to the paperclip in Office that used to come up. You're trying to write a letter. But I mean, I think that could be useful. You know, I can see that developing. Again, around governance.
Yeah.
You know, like, have you filled in your Jira job for this yet?
Yeah.
Or, you know, sort of, and linking it deeper into AI mentor. You know, this code stinks and you know it. Please fix it.
Yeah, fix it. Yeah.
We've been wasting our time.
Yeah.
You know, so there's things like that I think there are interesting efficiencies that we can put in.
Yes. Yeah.
Without stumping the creativity of the developer, because I think that's one of the beauties of OutSystems is that it still lets you code.
Yeah.
You're still creative, but it's a shortcut. You're not having to write. Your creativity is in a different way. You're not writing. You're not writing Lord of the Rings. Your creativity is sort of more dynamic, and it's sort of it lets you shine in a different way. And from the management side, because you've got those efficiencies in development and coding, you know, the speed, you can leverage that in an emergency. You know, sort of like, I need something very quickly to do this. And you can turn that around in hours.
Yeah.
And I think that's really useful.
Yeah. And you know, like, is there anything in the platform, you know, you touched on it earlier, is there anything that the platform doesn't offer that, you know, you would like to see in the future?
The governance, tone, that for me, that I keep
That's
on
the
using
main one.
word.
Yeah.
And that's because my job has changed. Someone somewhere along the lines took away all my coding and computers and things, and now I just use Teams and Outlook. You know?
Yeah, okay. That's all you've got. Yeah,
it's all I'm allowed.
Yeah.
But for me, the questions around everything is sort of like, are we doing things the right way? So we're a regulated company. We have auditors coming in, and they ask me some terrible questions that I'd rather just not do.
Yeah.
You know, but it is all about, like, if I change some code, can I tell who changed it, when they changed it, when it got released?
Yeah.
And like, what if that
Mm.
programmer decided to pay themselves money on every transaction?
Mm.
Could you
Yeah.
prove it to them?
Yeah.
It's stuff like that. And to have more, I think the software industry as a whole isn't very grown up in that
Yeah.
from what I've ever experienced. There's no
Mm.
thought about how we prove that the whole development process is honest.
Yeah.
What tools are there for us to find
Mm.
a rogue piece of code?
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, I'd like things like that, which is very difficult to think about. To
Yeah.
develop. What patterns do you use?
Mm.
But that's the sort of thing that I think needs to be the future, because
Yeah.
you need to
Yeah.
be able to, as a business, you need to be able to say all my staff are sane and
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
They're not doing strange things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that sounds really boring, I think, to think like that.
Yeah, but it will resonate with some people, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, because when you go into technology, it's to do good things.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's improving quality of life.
Mm.
Because you want to give people software that helps them in their life.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing,
Mm.
you're trying to improve something.
Yeah. Yeah.
To
Yeah.
improve an experience, reduce the amount of work they do. Because that's
Yeah.
the things I get off on, is the fact
Mm.
that I can write software that stops someone doing a boring job,
Yeah.
so they
Yeah.
can go
Yeah.
to a more interesting job.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So an hour spent fixing that,
Yeah. Yeah.
to save someone a week's worth of work
Yeah.
is a good trade.
Yeah.
Um, uh, so yeah, I don't know. Yeah, going forward, it's just allowing the developers to keep being creative.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's productive.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also the governance and making sure that they're doing a safe job,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Definitely. Yeah.
and it's provable.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're obviously Project Happy, it's big project that you've been doing, and obviously, you've got a team working around that. I'm guessing, you're because you guys don't have a high, obviously we work together, so I know you don't have a high turnover of staff. So obviously they must get the same feeling of they're working on something like, the project is obviously, it's quite interesting, and it's, doing kind of the end product you're going to deliver. You really want to see that through and, get that out to people.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to jinx it, touch wood.
Yeah.
I don't know what our secret sauce is.
Yeah.
Um, but we don't have a high turnover,
Yeah.
and that has been highlighted.
Yeah.
Uh, the team, from the internal surveys, the teams report back
Yeah.
they're happy with the environment,
Yeah.
the way we work, the tools they use, and things like that. So um, I don't know. I mean, the contractors seem happy that you
Yeah.
provided.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 They are happy.
Uh,
Yeah.
so and it's not. I guess it's not always the money either.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there is an engagement with the product.
Yes.
The uh, Given the nature of our work, we have a varied portfolio of things we do.
Mm.
So the integrations we're doing, we've got SAML SSOs going on, we've
Mm.
got APIs, there's quite a lot going on the low level. We've got mobile
Yeah.
technology. We're integrating with third parties to get content.
Mm.
We provide content, we create content.
Yeah.
We deal with hundreds of different clients, which have all got different usages and stuff. So I think part of it is that you don't get bored.
Yeah.
There is we have like a constant churn of work that's coming in.
Mm.
Maybe a little bit too much work coming in sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
we have problems, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, sort of like sometimes it's the um, juggling the amount of work that we've got and the
Mm.
priorities, and making sure that we're efficient in the way that we do that
Mm.
causes us challenges. But we change our processes organically, so we're making sure that the process fits
Yeah.
the requirement. Um, uh, so yeah, I can't tell you what it is about the, the team that
Yeah.
makes it work.
Yeah.
We've all got one another's backs, you know, sort of, and we all take care about one another. We have a laugh.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
we should do more social things, which, you know, post COVID has been really difficult.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we've got a lot of remote workers, so it's
Yeah.
difficult stuff. But generally, everything, people seem happy. Ironically, with the name of it,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the feedback. Obviously, that's the feedback I get, and obviously, credit to you. I get a lot of people obviously say it's a pleasure to work for Richard. So,
Oh,
it's
it's the
so
team.
you play. Yeah, yeah,
It's not just me. I mean,
yeah,
everyone's to gel, and everyone has respect for one another.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
at the end of the day, we're an employee engagement
yeah.
provider. You know, so like
Exactly.
that's our life. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So it's good to know that we do it internally.
Yeah, you practice what you kind of
Yeah.
delivering, basically. Yeah, yeah. Obviously, you're an OutSystems champion. Um, so can you talk us through, obviously there's certain things people do to get these statuses and labels. What's your kind of involvement, for getting that title?
Uh, I think I've always been an advocate of the product from when I first saw it, because it made sense.
Mm.
Um, when challenged about using OutSystems, and you know, the people with like skills like C# and
Mm.
uh, Python, whatever, you know, that they say, but the real world is using these tools.
Yeah.
I'd say that I used to be a COBOL programmer, because uh, no one uses COBOL anymore. But at the time, the whole world was written
Everyone
in
did,
COBOL.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, things change. Yeah, and I think uh, my advocacy of something like OutSystems is it
Mm.
is the new wave. I think it's matured so much in the last few years, and I think the reason I'm a champion is because I sort of I help out leading the London User Group,
Yep.
so the OutSystems User Group here. Um, I try and get involved. You know, I don't like talking to yourself about
Mm.
these. I don't mind admitting in public that I'm a bit of a fanboy of this sort of technology. But the reason is because I've done a lot of coding
Yeah.
over the years, and I've written some terribly boring stuff, you know,
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
again and again and again.
Yeah.
And it's lovely to see something that takes that away. I mean, it's a paradigm shift for me in the same sort of way that writing, uh, Z80 code by writing it out and then typing it into a
Yeah.
hex keyboard
Yeah.
manually, you know, so to going to something on screen that you can type in the instructions and then trace through it. You
Yeah.
know, we've moved into a different place,
Mm.
and I think with the addition of things like AI and stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, you're going to see our jobs change again,
Yeah.
because you know it's going to be more, maybe it's going to be more
Mm.
object based. You know,
Yeah.
the paperclip will appear and say, "I notice you're trying to write an accounts package." You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
bing,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
bing.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I don't. I think developers' jobs are going to be safe,
Yeah.
um, but you know, we have to we need to be like Madonna and reinvent ourselves frequently.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. To each generation. Yeah, definitely.
and so yeah, back to why I'm a champion of OutSystems. Yeah, I think it's because I have done. I'm more behind the scenes. I've talked
Yeah,
to other
yeah.
customers,
Mm.
and uh, I think I try to be a sane voice. I'm
Yeah,
not. I'm not going to sort of like go on stage and be very evangelical.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm practical, and
yeah.
when I talk to people, I tell them,
Mm.
these are the benefits that we've seen.
Yeah.
These are the things you need to be aware of.
Mm.
The slight pitfalls, but these are things we
Yeah,
work around.
yeah,
Every system's going to have that.
yeah, yeah, of course. And I think obviously your contribution to even the user groups and being consistent with that is, it's helping the community, right? There's not the biggest base in not I say London, not even UK. So, to kind of be part of that and try and have regular meetups, I think is definitely a really good thing. Especially,
Yeah,
coming out of the pandemic, I think people
yeah,
need a bit of that.
we do need a bit of that, and we need more. We need to get more people through the door to
Mm,
see what we're doing,
yeah,
and that's always a challenge because
yeah,
it's like you go to work and then you're going
yeah,
to spend
yeah.
the evening with other geeks looking at software.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
um, but if anyone's interested, check us out. Um, come on down. And it's a good place to swap ideas
Yeah,
and meet people
yeah,
because when you go to the Portuguese, the event in Lisbon,
yeah. The conference.
it
Yeah,
the conference, it's nice to see for people to go,
yeah.
hey,
It is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's lovely. It's really good.
because and the OutSystems community is lovely and it's very friendly, and
Yeah,
people help one another out behind the scenes,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it is always good.
yeah. Amazing. And just a final question. With kind of obviously you're doing this project. What's the kind of plans going forward? Is there kind of other things going on within the business that you can talk about?
Yeah, I was going to say, how many NDAs do we need to cover this one?
Yeah.
Um, there are a lot of things going on at the moment.
Mm.
We have a lot of there's projects I can't talk about with the team,
Yeah.
that's going on.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But yeah, I'm excited about the next, but about what I know, which is pretty
Yeah.
much a year and a
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm really excited for the company that we're doing we've got some great stuff coming up. We've got too much sometimes, sort of like,
Yeah. Yeah.
just what do we do first? It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
there is a lot of work on the horizon.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and I don't know what to say about revealing stuff. And we've got an interest in AI, of course,
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
and that. Uh, but I personally, I
Mm.
don't feel it should be AI for AI's sake.
Yeah. Sure.
It needs to be useful.
Yeah. Yeah. Of
It
course.
needs to be um, something that will be beneficial to our end users.
Mm. Mm.
Uh,
Yeah. Have
so
you like personally yourself looked into kind of, because I find I'm getting a lot of people contact me saying, do I need to kind of start getting certified in AI and things like that? Is that something you've personally looked into, or you're kind of just sitting tight and you're too busy to worry about it at the moment?
uh, okay, there's probably two scenarios there. Partly,
Yeah.
I'm too busy.
Yeah,
There's
that's what I
so
thought.
much going on,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's a distraction. Um, but I'm also hugely cynical
Yeah.
because and a little frightened as well because I think that
Mm,
we might be going too fast in the wrong directions with AI,
mm. Yeah.
and uh, the whole Chat GPT thing.
Mm.
Um, you're seeing people writing, write me something in the style of blah blah blah,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
you know, and, and then it's starting to get a bit blurry as to what's human and what's what's machine
Yeah.
generated.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of like the bit that scares me,
Yeah.
sort of like, in the artist community, there's an awful lot of discussion as to what using AI is.
Yeah.
But is it just another form of plagiarism?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
there's sort of like, I think that we need to sit down and think about the application of AI
Yeah. Yeah.
before we start creating monsters.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Exactly.
uh, I don't fear for my job,
Yeah.
because I'm more adaptive than any AI out there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and you can we can't predict what careers there are going to be in 5 years now.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so yeah, I am not looking at AI in terms of
Yeah.
getting certified.
Yeah.
But then I'm a little bit old and long in the tooth because
Yeah.
I'm doing it for like 7 years, I think, until I
Yeah.
retire. So.
Yeah.
But hey, that's a couple of centuries in IT. So who
Exactly. Yeah.
knows?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
I should be looking at AI.
Amazing. Amazing.
Maybe
Well, I
the
really
next meeting,
appreciate it.
so
What's that? Sorry?
maybe the next meeting I'll have been downloaded onto a computer and be talking to you virtually from somewhere
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You actually won't be present for the conversation. As long as they keep the fish tank in the background, it's fine. Oh, amazing, Richard. It was really a pleasure having you on. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing your insights and everything, that you've kind of experienced. And, I think it's, the reason for doing this is, if there are other companies who are looking to adopt low code, they can hear from people like yourselves who've gone through that process and, like you said, have become a fanboy in the end of it. So, it's definitely, it's positive to hear. And that's what we're trying to do. Obviously, we're trying to create awareness. So, that's, it's nice to hear that. Obviously, like you said, there are things, there can be challenges, but obviously most of it's positive, which is great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks, Richard. It was really nice
Cheers.
talking to you. Take care. Thank you for listening to today's episode, which is brought to you by iTrack. We are a leading staffing firm that solely specializes in supplying both contract and permanent low-code professionals to organizations globally. Navigating the niche landscape of the low-code market requires the best talent, and we recognize its critical importance for our clients. Whether you're a company looking to strengthen your team, an individual seeking the next career move, or someone entirely new to the world of low-code, we're here for you. Our extensive experience and in-depth market knowledge enables us to quickly pinpoint the ideal candidates while offering expert advice and support at every stage of your low-code journey. Reach out to us through our website or connect with me directly on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to assist you. Thank you once again for joining us today. We'll be back next week with another insightful episode. Until then, take care.